Our scriptures define teacher as acharya, and the quality of acharya is acharati iti acharya. The one who practices is a true preacher or a teacher. Teaching does not happen by simply saying things, but teaching happens when you do and demonstrate. Students learn by seeing, not by listening. And therefore, the most important quality, as our scriptures have already defined, is you must practice whatever you want others to practice. That defines our idea of teacher in India as acharyas. And then Narasimhamurthy ji said also about gurus. Now, gurus is another level of teacher, a higher teacher, who is not passing on knowledge, but he is the source of knowledge. And that knowledge is not material knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. Because he has experienced the truth, so he is capable of teaching that truth to the learners, the seekers. That is Guru. All Gurus are Acharyas, but all Acharyas need not be Gurus. You know about those universal sets and subsets. So Guru is a universal set. Acharyas are also inside him, instructors are also there, all kinds of preachers, all kinds of teachers are inside that universal set. But not every teacher is a Guru. And what he said it very clearly, very, very succinctly, that in our institution, which is different from all other institutions because we have a purpose, a mission, all teachers have to be gurus. They cannot just satisfy themselves and be contented that they know the subject and that they are able to teach it very well to the students. They would be doing half the job only. The other side of our teachers' aspect is to develop that spiritual understanding and experience with which they can also inspire the students to walk on this great spiritual path. Bhagavan used to say, Tarachi chaduvi chaduvi chavanganetiki chavuleni chaduvu chadavavalayu. What is the point in reading all the things that ultimately leads you to death? Even an animal who is uneducated dies, a man educated also dies. If all your education is ending up in death, and that is the end of your education, what is the point of learning such a thing? We must learn that education which takes us beyond this cycle of birth and death. Chavuleni chaduvu. That which does not bind us to only death, it takes us to immortality. That kind of education one should learn. That is the idea of two kinds of educations, para and apara vidya, in our system too, where you learn about the material subject knowledge, but more importantly, you also learn about the spiritual truths. And just as no subject knowledge becomes yours, it remains a borrowed knowledge from the books till you yourself have experienced it. So also no spiritual knowledge becomes yours, it remains a borrowed knowledge till you have yourself experienced that knowledge. That's why in practicals we have in our subject knowledge. You have theory classes and then you have practicals to go and test it out and learn for yourself by doing, by experimenting, by doing practicals. Then you assimilate and understand that knowledge. This knowledge now has become permanently yours. Whereas spiritual also runs on the same principle. You listen to great spiritual truths in satsangs or in your Paravidya classes or read books and scriptures. But at the end, unless you put it into practice and experience it, knowledge is never yours. It's only a borrowed knowledge, and borrowed knowledge has to be paid back. Anything that is borrowed has to be returned, so that knowledge disappears after some time because it never became yours. So to make the student experience the knowledge, first the teacher must have experienced the knowledge. And how teacher must have experienced the knowledge? By being a guru. So a teacher can instruct from a book, it can instruct and tell about whatever is going on. And students can probably borrow that or learn that day. But a guru who has experienced that knowledge springs from within. There was a time when there was no textbook at all. Nobody knew what science is, nobody knew what social science is, nobody knew any other thing. Even those days, knowledge existed, isn't it? Though it was not written in books, it was always there. And there were people who were aware of that knowledge also, just that they did not write it in textbooks. Knowledge was always there. But those who worked towards gaining that knowledge and experienced it, they became the teachers of the day. Those who never experienced it, never worked towards it, never gained that knowledge, even though the knowledge existed for everyone equally. So also for students, the knowledge exists, but you cannot make it yours unless and until you experience it. But to experience that knowledge, you need an experienced teacher. You want to learn how to swim. You need to learn from somebody who knows how to swim. Somebody only shows you pictures. This is a swimming pool, this is called water, and this is the depth of the pool. If you go inside, you have to throw your hands and legs like this. Do you think you can learn? The teacher has to get into the pool with you, the instructor, and show you how it is done. And when you make a mistake and you're not doing it right, must correct you. And ultimately, till you make swimming as your own personal knowledge, where you don't need an instructor, the instructor or the teacher has to be with you. You have that swimming pool, no? Our school swimming pool is there. So how many of you are going for learning? Some of them behind there, because the small pools only small boys can go. But if you're too small and your height is too less, you can't go. Our Gopi will not allow. Put your hands down. Some children complain, why are we not allowed to go to the swimming pool? Then I asked, what is the problem? They said, no, you have to be minimum 4 feet height. You should have that height, only then you are allowed. But if you're 6 feet also, no use. That pool is not used. Narsimurti cannot swim in that pool. It's too tall for the pool. What I mean to say that unless there is a swimming teacher who knows how to swim, he cannot teach that swimming to somebody by theory. Likewise, all knowledge is yours only when you have a good teacher who has experience of that knowledge, and he shows you by doing it, how it is done. Same thing applies to spiritual knowledge. Knowledge is one and the same, whether it is material or spiritual. The process of passing on this knowledge is through experience. Swanubhava, it is called in our scriptures. By your personal experience, you should have experience, only then you can teach it to others. Anything, be it cooking, be it reading, be it driving, be it swimming, any small to big, or the highest adhyatmic knowledge of spiritual self. Everything can be only taught if the teacher has experienced it personally. Only then he can pass it on to the student. And then student becomes a teacher in the process, because now he is capable of passing this knowledge to others. When we started this university, since 5 years or 6 years back, the idea was to develop a place, a platform where we can create teachers of the future. Not just teachers, actually gurus of the future. So I call this is not as Guru Sishya Parampara, I call it as Guru to Guru Parampara. Because at the end of the process, you should become another Guru. During the process, you can be Sishya. But at the end of the process, you must become another Guru who is capable of creating more Gurus in the future. And so our students have a greater responsibility than just becoming academicians or educationists. When we started the university, I was largely in public schools, teachers are missing. Close to 1 million teachers are needed in our schooling system alone. And more than 300,000 teachers are needed in our university system, it seems. These were numbers then, and recently when I checked, they are more or less the same. Number of students have grown, but teachers have reduced in our country. And there are many government schools where there is no teacher, or even just one teacher who manages everything, including election duties and census duty, and also serving midday meals, and also taking 5 subjects for the students. Imagine that is the plight of a country which was the education hub of the world. Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramashila, these were the universities in those days. I'm talking about 4th, 5th century BC, not even AD. That is the time when these universities were established in India, when the world did not even know how to read a textbook. They were still fighting with each other for lands and wealth. When whole of the West was doing that, in East, this is what was going on. We had built universities and we were teaching all kinds of subjects. From the ordinary material knowledge, science knowledge, to the highest spiritual knowledge were being taught. And you know, all these universities were not charged. They were free in those days. I have read about Nalanda, and Nalanda itself had probably 10,000 students at any point in time. And they came from as far as Far East, Japan, and far west till Greece. Students would come from everywhere and they would learn all kinds of subjects. And the teachers were mostly monks. They were Buddhist monks who were teaching. And the whole university was patronized by the king of those times, who provided the resources that were needed to run the university. With this kind of education system which existed 2,500 years ago in India. And whatever we know about English and English grammar and modern science, they're all 13th century, 14th century things. We had architecture, you have such beautiful temples built 1,500 years ago with such perfection, impeccable constructions. Till now they stand without cement and without steel, just brick and stone. And they stand till today without having fallen. Those kind of marvelous things India could do because knowledge was respected, knowledge was worshipped, and teachers were worshipped in this country. Teachers were given the highest respect in the society. Even a king would bend in front of a teacher. Wealthy people will bow down to teachers. Teachers were not wealthy, but knowledge was their wealth and the whole society respected them. What has happened in the modern times is that the moment teaching or education was commoditized, teachers lost all their respect and value. They became servants or service providers or vendors. The moment that happened, teachers lost their respect. Many people tell me in today's times, who respects a teacher? Even teachers don't want their children to become teachers. First thing, they like farmers don't want their children to become farmers. Teachers don't want their children to become teachers. They want them to become engineers, doctors or something. And I ask them, why do you do that? Because the bad experience we have had as being teachers. We don't want our children to go through the same. Farmers say the same thing to me, the kind of life we live. We don't want our children to suffer the same fate. So let them do something else, not farming. Let them do something else, but not teaching. And that is why the number of teachers have fallen in the country, even though the number of students have gone up. This is a crisis. In a couple of years, the number of children will be even more, those who need to go to school and get educated. Naturally, because India is growing, population is growing, and most of the children are born in rural India, where the schools don't exist or teachers don't exist. What will they do whole day if they don't go to schools? If there is nobody to teach them, if they go to school, there is no one to teach them. What will they do the whole day? Idle mind is devil's workshop. So all of them will take to wrong ways. Why these social crimes Narasimha is crying about? Who are these criminals? Have they come from another planet? They are our own people, our own children, our own brothers, cousins, sisters. How did they become criminals? Because they didn't know what else to do with their lives. Nobody told them this is wrong. Nobody helped them to correct themselves, guide them. So by habit, continuously it's repeating it over and over. Now they have become hardened criminals and nothing can be done about it because it's too late for transforming them. The only destiny is jail. With this kind of country which was glorified as the teaching and education destination for the whole world, thousands of years ago, not even like recent times. That country is suffering a fate today where children don't have teachers in their schools. And even if they are there, they are hardly well educated, they hardly are passionate about teaching. They just go because they just have to go and do a job and get a salary. They don't care about whether the students are getting inspired by all that education, whether they're going to be future leaders or redeemers of the society. None of these matter to many of the teachers, most of them. Yes, there are few teachers, there are pockets of them. There are a couple of them who are very, very passionate even today. They work very hard. We had a small meeting here where we gave a kind of a competition and a prize for clean and green school. I was so happy to see we gave 100 prizes. You all know that. For keeping schools green and clean. That was the initiative. But that is just an indicator of how much the teachers or principals are serious about their job. It is beyond the call of duty. Teaching is their job. But keeping the school green and clean is going beyond the call of duty. So if they are doing this, definitely they are also doing good teaching is what my calculation was. 100 of them were given prizes and many more were here. I was so happy to see. Some of them were so spirited, so enthusiastic. They were not rich people. They were wearing ordinary clothes. They didn't have big jewelry or some, costly, expensive dresses. They were very simple folks. But each of them was pulsating with such energy and enthusiasm. And I felt, oh, there are still some people like this in our country. That is why our country is still, going on. And we have not kind of fallen into that depression that we Western countries are presently going through, especially with the children. Because there are some teachers somewhere they're giving their everything and more to protect the society. But then I asked them, some of them, what are the challenges? They say resources are the challenges. We are not paid on time. Salaries are not given. Some people were telling that even the budgets that are kept for the schools, they are not released. So sometimes they're not able to undertake repairs and maintenance. Many times out of their own pocket, they put the money and get things done for the students. All these kind of challenges they face in a country which is supposed to be $5 trillion economy in a couple of years. Education budget of the country is nowhere near where it should be. Even Bangladesh and Pakistan's education budget is more than ours. Why? Because we say we don't have money for education. We have money for all kinds of things, but not for education. This is the kind of fate that our country is suffering. 2%, 3% budgets for running a country which has the maximum number of young population which needs to be educated, skilled and trained. That country is not having budget for their children's future. What kind of country are we running? And as I said, teachers are not respected. The profession is not respected anymore. Because, you know, the fellow who has studied till 12th under you, tomorrow goes and joins one BPO or one mall and becomes a cash register operator, and he earns more than you very next day. So where is the respect for that teacher? I'm not saying money is the reason why you should respect people, but very fact that the teacher is molding the best of the minds of the country, that teacher needs to be respected and given whatever the due is. They are not running behind money, but they do need respect. They do need a kind of a status in the society where parents and people bow down in front of them when a teacher passes by. But that culture is gone. Why? Because education was commoditized. So parents say, what is there? You do the job properly, we are paying you for that. Like you pay a servant to get your things done. Now teachers have become that kind of service providers where you demand things from them. Do this, otherwise we will not pay you. I have seen so many teachers, they've come running, joined us. And I asked them why you were working in a very good institution. They said, management was only asking one thing, what is the revenue, how much fees you have collected. If you have not collected the fees, who is going to pay the salary? If will you pay from your pocket? College is not making money, therefore we are going to shut down this department, that department. All the time there was a sword hanging on their neck. This is the kind of lives professors and teachers live outside because of the commercialization of education. And in public sector, as I went to, I don't want to say the name of the university, but recently I visited, I was in the Vice Chancellor's place. I was asking what are the challenges. He was saying, other than Vice Chancellors and Registrar's salary, no professors are being paid. Six months, teachers have not been paid. Students have stopped coming. This is government university. And then many more stories also I heard from other educationists that how many universities do not have basic things also. They're namesake universities. So no students are joining them because the quality is so poor. So where should these students go? They borrow, beg and go to private institutions. They pay through their nose because they also need a job. They also need to survive. They need an education, a degree to move ahead in life. But government cannot provide it, so they go to private institutions. And what private institutions do? They every day, as the demand grows up, the fees go up. Today also I saw in newspaper government is saying they control the fee for nursing courses. They have also sent a notice to all the nursing colleges that you better not charge because once fee is published, but so much other fees are taken in an indirect way. So that's how education's commoditization has led to absolute disrespect and detrimental value system in terms of education. The teachers are not respected because they are thought like a service provider, like a taxi driver or a housemaid or a hotel chef or a cleaner. They're paid, you should do the job. This is the kind of education we have brought to, and that's in between all these, in the background of this, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, in those days, he was a pioneer in terms of education. He had a vision for the country. He had a policy, he had an idea, but he couldn't implement it because successive governments did not take it seriously. And in the name of secularism, all spirituality was thrown out of the window. God, religion, spirituality. And Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was the first person, I think, who fought with his own professor. He was just 20, I believe, was studying in Madras, at a Christian college. And his professor was Professor Hoff, who was always making fun of Hindu religion and kind of calling it as a unethical or immoral or some kind of very bad ways. And he did a research, he produced a thesis at the age of 20 about Vedanta, the ethics of Vedanta, and its but main topic was ethics of Vedanta. He said Vedanta is an ethical subject. He talks about, it's not some dream world, some fantasy land of Maya and all that. It is real and it is practical and it is to be used in a daily life, and you can make use of it and become a better person. He proved it through his thesis. And his own professor congratulated him, saying that you have, he fought against that what he called as some kind of a westernized way of looking at Hindu religion, which always looked down upon our religion. But he brought the idea of Advaita Vedanta to the top, and he said that Vedanta is the true religion in its universality and deep depth. Vedanta is the actual religion in all its significance. He told the world in those times when we were still suffering under a huge, westernized colonial English education baggage. The President of India said this. But 70 years down the line, are we any better is the question. We haven't learnt. So in these times, who is going to take up this job? Who is going to tame the whatever the animal called westernized, commoditized education? Who is going to take the bull by the horns, as they say? Nobody is doing it, because even mathas have run out of resources. They don't have finances, so they also started charging the fee. At best 5-10%, 15% free, rest all is charged, even in mathas, gurukulas. I should not say, but I visited a couple of mathas, and I thought everybody was free, because they said, but when I went there, I saw one school of theirs out of 300 school was free. 299 were all charged like any other regular school or college, with a high fee, not even like cheap, very expensive. Then I realized what is going on. These people were supposed to provide education to the needy and the poor and the downtrodden. Namesake, you open a hostel or two or one college or a school, and there you give something free. The rest of it is all commercialized. And I asked them, they said, what is the other way? Where do we get money to give education for free? They're asking me this question. Governments don't give us any help. Society is very, not so charitable anymore like in old times. And we ourselves don't have any way of generating resources. They ask me, how do you do it? We don't know. What is the magic? They ask me, teach us also. That's what they tell me. How do you do these large education institutions and do it for free? These big matadipatis ask me. I tell, I do not know. I just believe in this idea of Indian education, which should not be commercialized, which should not be commoditized, which should not be bought and sold. That is how our ancestors lived. That is what we were taught. The education was a right, fundamental right to every child. And nobody should have sold it or bought it. I know teachers of the past who would sacrifice anything and everything for the sake of bringing up a child in the right way. They were not looking at their wealth and retirement and their money and financial status. They were not interested in that. They were Saraswati Upasakas, not Lakshmi Upasakas. They only wanted to spread knowledge. Even at the cost of penury, poverty, whatever they had to go through. Unfortunately, society was so, heartless to not look after them well. And so the next generation said, we are not going to be like our father and mother. We need to have a good life, and I think it's not worth sacrificing for a society which is so ungrateful for our services. That's how good teachers also disappeared from the society. And today, most of the teachers who are there in education institutions are all in the retirement age. The good teachers who are passionate, who joined the education system 30, 40 years ago. They're all, one leg is in the retirement age. They all retire in the next 5-10 years. Whatever 1 million deficiency will go up to maybe 1.5 million. And children's number will go up. Today 8 crore children are in schools, tomorrow they'll become 15 crore because of the population growth. What will we teach them? What will we make out of these people? Will they be any better than animals if we don't give them education? Vidya vihinam pashubhis samana. They'll only live by instincts of animals. Then social crimes and all these things are to be expected. What else we can expect? So with this situation going around, Narayan Bhatt in 70s thought about starting education institution. His only idea was to create teachers for the future. And he would call them Tyagajivis because it was not just teaching, it was a complete package. You were also a subject teacher, you were also a social worker, you were also a healthcare provider, you were also a spiritual guide and mentor. So you had multiple roles to play as a Tyagajivi. And in those days, in 70s, look at his forethought. He thought there should be at least 1 million youngsters who should dedicate themselves to the development of the nation. 70s, population was half of what it is today. And he then thought 1 million people are needed for the country. And today we hear about 1 million deficit in our teaching faculties across the schools. So he had that vision, but he could not achieve it. He tried, same resource crunch, no support from the society, no support from governments. All these issues made him whatever do or stop wherever he could. But we have taken up this mantle again. We are back in the saddle, as they say, to continue this journey and do it with greater vigor and intensity. And when this university was formed, the only vision was that every student of this university should become a teacher and teach the next generation the right kind of education, right value system. That's when we will be able to uplift this country, make a better society, and become the Vishwaguru that we always are talking about. There's no other way. And today when I was sitting with the Pradhana Palakas, which was done last year, we transitioned by transferring the responsibility from the older generation to the younger ones. It had its teething problems and some unexpected turn of events. But at the end of it, they all have matured in the last 8-9 months. They're taking responsibility, they're taking charge, they're dealing with the challenging situation. They're only 24, 25 years old. But they have taken it upon themselves to take this forward. And when I was talking to them, I felt so reassured. I thought if Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishna was around, he would have felt very reassured that finally my vision of Vedantic education, education which is Indianized, which is based on a Hindu idea of everybody's welfare, with the deepest idea that everything is divine, everything is God. With this idea, we will teach our children. He dreamt of such an education system. Being the president, he could not achieve it. But today, the ball is in our court, as I say. It's upon us to do all these things. And this opportunity has been given to all of us. Each one of us can be a teacher. You can be a doctor, but you can also be a teacher. Today, there are doctors, but there are no doctor teachers. We are suffering with the lack of faculty everywhere. Why? Because they become doctors, because through doctor, they becoming doctor, they becoming businessmen, basically. If they join teaching profession, you are not going to earn as much. So most of the doctors have not gone into teaching at all. They did not think if nobody becomes a teacher, who will teach the next generation of doctors? They didn't think. They thought that is not my problem. My problem is how do I pay my education fee, which I have taken loan for, and then how do I get ahead in life? My friend has already gone to US. I'm still sitting here. It's no progress. That is how they compared with each other. So they did not take teaching, and today we don't have faculty available for medical schools. Government is opening left, right, center, every district, one medical school, they're saying. We have the faculty. Why go that far? Just go across to another medical college in the same district. Verge of closure. No faculty. This is the kind of country we have created because of our extreme greed for money and material things, and by discarding all the idea of spirituality and abandoning the Indian culture and Indian philosophy. What Dr. Radhakrishnan wanted was a country which was teaching children the spiritual education alongside the material education, Vedanta being its true philosophy, this true school of thought. And with that, he wanted to create enlightened citizens for the country, not just educated citizens. But he could not achieve it. His dreams remained dream. Narayan Bhatt could not achieve it. His dreams remained a dream only. But should this remain a dream in our lifetime also? Should we also die contented that at least we dared to dream? We did not achieve anything. No, we cannot. If we don't do it, nobody will do it. I have studied all kinds of education institutions in India and abroad. Even if somebody is doing very sincerely like us, they are doing very little. And that's not going to tilt the balance. Somebody has to do it at scale, sustainably, for a long period of time, continuously, consistently, persistently. Then only the balance will shift. Then things will change. Nobody is doing that. Only us in the whole of the country, in fact, whole of the world, I must say. We have challenges, don't we? Whatever challenges the matas are telling me or other institutions are telling me, we have greater challenges. Because you also run hospitals, not just schools. So we have challenges. Every day we work hard to make sure that we have something for the next day. I call myself as God's laborer. Every morning you wake up, start working to survive this day. I hear from our children, right? They tell our parents have to go to work early in the morning at 6 o'clock, stand in the market square, from where some contractor or middleman will come. He will say, I want 40 laborers for today at one particular site. They all will be put inside a tempo and they'll be driven to that site. Nobody knows who is the manager, who is the owner. They'll simply work blindly whole day. At the end of the day, they'll be given this much money. And with that, they'll come. On the way, they'll buy some food from the ration shop, some rice or some dal. That is what they'll cook for the night and feed their children. This is the life of most of the students' parents. Many of them I know. I say my life is no different. I also wake up every day and worry, how do I survive this day? And if we survive today, we will survive tomorrow. That is how we work. Whole day we work, at the end of the day something happens. We are able to feed, clothe, educate you for the next day. And next day again we begin the process. Hundreds of us work around the world to provide you what you need for next day and the next day and the next day. So that food bills are paid, electricity bills are paid, mess bills are paid, education bills are paid, healthcare bills are paid. Every day we work like, I call us God's laborers. I told Narasimurthy also, you also better think of yourself like this only. Don't think you can do anything bigger and better. Wake up every day, work like a laborer, stand at the market square, ask God, what do you want me to do today? And God will tell you, get into the tempo, we'll take you here and you work today, do all this, and tomorrow night we will drop you back at the market square with a little money for today which you have earned. Same way I work. I may look very dignified sitting on a stage saying big things. But behind the stage, I am laboring every day just to ensure that this Indian philosophy, it is Indian idea of free education is not sacrificed at the altar of commercialism. For that sake, I work every single day and I want everybody to work with me. Today you do not work. Today you study. I am not going to demand anything from you. Study well, get educated, get both material and spiritual education. One day you join me on my side, like these Pradhan Palakas have joined me. One day you become my colleagues, not just students, and work with me for the betterment of next generation. And so many more who are waiting. That is the only way. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan could not start an organization, though he had great ideas in mind, but could not. Narayan Bhatt at least attempted starting an organization, it only went so far. So many others also, visionaries, Rabindranath Tagore, Mahatma Gandhi, Vivekananda, name it. They all tried in their own way, which are also running, but not really the way they should be. And then here we are, standing, as I said, swimming against the tide, as the MLA told me. But we will continue to swim because we have to reach. If we don't row the boat, then so many will be left behind. But today, it's been given to some elders, some teachers who are doing this for you. But never forget this debt of gratitude that you carry on your shoulders. You must repay this. How? By you becoming teachers and training the next generation. And doing whatever it takes in your might. Whatever it takes. Sacrifice whatever it needs to be. For the sake of bringing up the next generation better. And if we have done this way, you should do it better than us. That's how you pay the debt of gratitude. When you pay debt, how do you pay? You pay the same amount or you pay a little more? You pay a little more, you have to add interest also to that, isn't it? So if you are carrying a debt of gratitude today for whatever we have done for you, should you not do more than that for the next generation? Obviously, yes. You have to add that interest portion and do better than us. So if I do 30 schools, you should open 100 schools. If I open 100, you should open 500. That is how you should be able to help more people. This is what I am doing all the time, training and teaching these students. And I am hoping that with these few green shoots that I am already seeing, I am hoping that these will grow into mighty trees in the future and bear fruits that will be sown in soils far away, grow into new crop, new harvest, new trees, bearing new fruits. And that is how more and more people will be saved. If we don't do that, be ready to hear all kinds of news that we hear every day. And no place is safe for nobody. You think physical world is terrible, cyber world is even worse. I was just reading news, the amount of cyber crime and frauds have happened. Thousands of crores of rupees of fraud has happened in 1 year in Bangalore alone, they said. 2,000 crores or something like that. I told people have been fooled and defrauded for money from their bank accounts by threatening them or fooling them into so many. And a lot of people. So crime is everywhere. And who are these criminals is my whole question. Either they are uneducated buffoons who have no other way but to steal and survive, and then in the process learn more wrong things and do more wrong things, or they are educated people, very sharp and clever, but their education is all wrong. They have been made into Frankensteins who are going to destroy the system itself from which they have come. That is the other kind of educated people. Both are destroying the society in some way or the other. In fact, educated ones are even more dangerous. So we have created a new system and we are working so hard to make sure. I want everybody to appreciate that. Take a minute, sit down with yourself and understand. It's very easy to just think that this happens on its own. Something happens, some people send money, teachers come, what is my problem? I will get education, go out, make money and live a happy life. If that is your attitude, quit tomorrow. That is the best thing to do. That is the best help you can do to me. quit tomorrow if you are having that attitude. That something will happen, don't worry, we don't have to care, our parents don't have to care. Just get what you can get, squeeze as much as you can and run away with it. If this attitude of ingratitude is there, then you are not the right person to be here. I want everybody to be filled to the brim with gratitude for all that is being done by so many nameless people who are silently doing it. You won't believe, but yesterday or day before we were so difficult. Today is salary day, and we live salary to salary, paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't tension, so I called up somebody and told, see, you have to do something and do this for me. He is going through, he's suffering in the sense not well. Despite being not well, not in this country, in another country, went, sold his stocks in the market and sent the money on time. He was sick. He didn't tell me that he was sick. After I had told him that I need this help, do something. He did that and then told that I was very sick, but I somehow, your grace, with whatever sickness, I managed to do what was needed and I have sent the money on time. Today's salaries are all paid. This is the way we live every day here, and I want to be very frank with you. You have to carry gratitude because nobody else could do this. Not the vice president, not the president, not the prime ministers, not the greatest leaders, spiritual or otherwise. Nobody could do what we have done. We are able to do it only because there is somebody who is, despite his sickness, is able to go to sell his savings and send the money for us to survive. That kind of people are backing this mission, and if we don't realize and have gratitude for them, there is no hope for the future of this world. Let me tell you, if we don't do what we do, there is no hope for the future. No Teachers' Day, no Guru Purnima, nothing will save this world. What we do alone will save this society and the world of tomorrow, and you are a part of this mission. You have a great responsibility. Don't shirk it away. Don't, think that somehow you have got lucky and you're privileged and entitled to all that is being given to you. No, it's being given to you with great hope, with great vision, with great responsibility. And you must shoulder this responsibility as your elders have already started. 2-3 batches have already come in. They have started doing their job. They have started delivering better education, inspiring their younger brothers and sisters. They have already joined me on my side. And next is your turn. Never forget even for a day what is coming to us because of sacrifices of so many. Otherwise, these Teachers' Days will become just, ceremonial celebrations where you put a photo of Radhakrishnan, put a haram on it, light a lamp, and give a speech. That too a fabricated, prepared speech about how great he was, how great his vision was, how he wanted the country to get transformed, the education system to get transformed. At the end of it, what happens? Nothing. Such celebrations are absolutely baseless and hollow. We are not here for that. But I have great respect for these people who at least had thought. They could not execute, unfortunately. They didn't have the wherewithal to do it. But we are able to do it. We have come this far. I'm sure we will go further as well. But provided each one of you takes it upon yourself to be an educator, to be a teacher, to be a guru. Whether you are from engineering or accountancy or finance or hospitals or schools, doesn't matter. Everybody can be a teacher and train 10 more, 20 more people in your own way. And when you do that, please don't ask them for money or personal benefits. Do it selflessly, unconditionally. Then things will change in this society because gratitude will rule the society then. Not commerce, not money. Everybody will be filled with gratitude and they'll feel, I have been given so much. I must pay this debt of gratitude. I must pay it more. I must pay it better. And every one of you will start working harder than what we do. And that's how so many of them will be saved. So never forget that the greatest tribute that you can give to your teacher is to become a teacher, so that you can continue the legacy of sharing this knowledge and improving the society. And that is the best gift that you can give to teachers on a Teachers' Day. I have been given a lot of letters, happy Teachers' Day, thank you for being a good teacher and this and that. But my ask is, you also become a teacher in your own way. Whatever you know, share it with others. And don't charge them for that sharing. Don't make money on your knowledge. Try to do it for those especially who just cannot afford. Give it to them as a gift. That is the best seva you can do. That is the best gratitude you can show to your teachers. With these words, I'll conclude.